Let me take a moment and talk about Riverside.fm. It allows you to record studio quality audio and up to 4K video. When you need to record audio and video, Riverside.fm can do it. So if you're looking for a hero platform for all your recording needs, from podcasts to webinars to any video content, Riverside.fm. I've got a promo code for you where you'll receive a 30% discount on the first 3 months of your subscription. I'll give it to you twice. The promo code is SHIPIT. All one word, SHIPIT, and you'll pick up a 30% discount on your first 3 months of your subscription. Riverside.fm.
In this Best of the Pigskin Dispatch football history headlines, we discuss 4 NFL championship games played on this day of December 26th and the Hominy Indians, as well as many more Hall of Fame legendary stories and birthdays of the day, all coming up in just a moment.
This is the Pigskin Daily History Dispatch, a podcast that covers the anniversaries of American football events throughout history on a day-to-day basis. Your host, Darren Hayes, is podcasting from America's North Shore to bring you the memories of the gridiron, one day at a time. So as we come out of the tunnel of the Sports History Network, let's take the field and go no huddle through the portal of positive gridiron history with pigskindispatch.com.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.
Hello, my football friends. This is Darren Hayes of pigskindispatch.com, your portal to positive football history, and of the Sports History Network, your headquarters of sports yesteryear. And we are sure glad to bring you another great Best of the Pigskin Dispatch daily history headlines for December 26th. We want you to enjoy the great football history, and we're taking a little bit of time off here during the holidays ourselves to recharge the batteries a little bit. But here is some great information that happened on December 26th in football history. And I hope you had a joyous holiday season, and we're still in the middle of football season and the football history headlines for December 26. And we'll start off those with the year 1927 in Pawhuska, Oklahoma. The all-Native American team called the Hominy Indians defeated the NFL's New York Giants, who had just won the title of world champions a mere 3 weeks earlier. The website iloveancestry.com has a brilliant article on the game from which we share some of the highlights. The Hominy squad was made up of 100% Native Americans, and they traveled around the country as an independent professional team. The group had never been defeated or even tied, and they ended up winning 26 games in their winning streak. The team was owned and funded by 2 brothers who lived in the Osage Reservation named Ira and Otto Hamilton. The players were all Native Americans who had been gathered from places all over the nation. Hominy had the greatest exposure they could ask for when they got the chance to play the NFL champions. They took advantage of that opportunity, extending their win streak as they outlasted the G-Men 13-6. According to theluckyshow.com, the Giants would lose 2 more exhibition games in Florida in early 1926 after this contest in Oklahoma. Rumors say they played in California too, as Ernie Nevers promised to coach them on the West Coast should they play there. December 26, 1943, at Wrigley Field in Chicago, the National Football League Championship game was played as the Washington Redskins faced the Chicago Bears. The Bears were guided by Hall of Fame quarterback Sid Luckman, who had possibly his best season ever by an NFL quarterback. Luckman, on the season, according to the Bleacher Report story on the game, went 110 of 202 passing attempts for 2194 yards and 28 TDs, with a total of 12 passes picked off. That makes his passer rating for the season an astounding 107.5 for a season. The Bears were 8-1-1 coming into the game and didn't have their owner George Halas for about half the year, as he had left to go serve in the Navy during the war. The Redskins had a great signal caller too in Sammy Baugh. These 2 teams recently squared off in championship play. The Bears crushed Washington in 1940, 73-0, but in 1942 it was the Redskins who held on to the title as they defeated Chicago 21-7. We'll leave the details of the game for you to read in the Bleacher Report article, but we do have the final score of this rubber game. The Bears won 41-21 to capture the franchise's 6th NFL title. That takes us to our next championship game, and it was played on December 26, 1954 at Cleveland Municipal Stadium. Lou Groza successfully kicks 8 extra points for a new title game record in the National Football League Championships. According to the American Football Database website, it was the third straight year that the Detroit Lions were matched up against the Cleveland Browns in the season finale to determine the best team in the NFL. The Lions featured their star players with Bobby Lane and Doak Walker, who helped lead the team to the Western Division crown with a 9-2-1 record. On the other sideline, Otto Graham and the legendary coach Paul Brown guided the Browns to become the kings of the East Division, sporting a 9-3 record. Doak Walker got the Lions roaring first with a 36-yard field goal, but it would be the only lead Detroit would see all day as the Browns rattled off 3 unanswered touchdowns and cruised the rest of the game. The Cleveland Browns dismantled the Detroit Lions 56-10 to claim yet another NFL title. December 26, 1955, at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. The Browns must have enjoyed playing the National Football League Championship game the day after Christmas. They defended their title by traveling to meet the LA Rams. Cleveland got up early in the game on a first-half field goal and a pick six and never looked back. Otto Graham tossed 2 touchdown passes and ran the ball in for 2 more as the Cleveland Browns beat the Los Angeles Rams 38-14 per the ProFootballReference.com website. The Browns won their 3rd NFL championship of the 1950s in winning this game. Hey, and since we talked about 3 NFL championship games on December 26, let's talk about one more and add 4. This is going to be December 26, 1960 at Philadelphia's Franklin Field. The National League Football Championship for the 1960 had Vince Lombardi's Green Bay Packers faced with the challenge of the high-flying Philadelphia Eagles. The Packers had just done the unthinkable and won the Western Division by fending off the 2-time defending juggernaut Baltimore Colts, who dropped their last 4 contests to sink back into the pack of mediocre teams. The Eagles, on the other hand, stayed 1 game ahead of the Browns to capture the East. One of the key plays in the game happened in the first quarter. The Packers were deep in Eagles territory after they received the ball on an interception. Charlie Bednarik stuffed fullback Jim Taylor on 4th down at the Eagles' 5-yard line to keep the Pack from adding digits to the scoreboard on that drive. Veteran quarterback Norm Van Brocklin, who played in multiple championship games with the Rams, threw for 202 yards and scored to help overcome the 1 interception he threw early as the Eagles outlasted Green Bay 17-13 in the final. Quite unbelievably, this was the lone playoff loss for the Packers coach Vince Lombardi in his entire 10-year career as an NFL headman. Lombardi must have learned some lessons at the end of his 2nd season in Green Bay at this game. Of course, over the next 7 seasons, the Lombardi-led Packers would win the NFL 3 championships and the first 2 Super Bowls, a total of 5 titles. Now let's take a quick break from our headlines and let me remind you can learn more about gridiron history on our website, pigskindispatch.com. And you can contact me, Darren Hayes, at pigskindispatch@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Speaking of hearing from someone who's here is one of my podcasting partners from the sportshistorynetwork.com that has a message just for you.
Hello, sports fans. My name is Mark Mortier, and my show is called Yesterday Sports. My show mainly focuses on old school sports from the 1960s, 70s, and 80s. I'm a member of the Pro Football Researchers Association and a sports historian. I have a podcast every other Tuesday, so come join us at the Sports History Network for a trip down memory lane.
Okay, I told you that was the last of the NFL championships. Well, let's throw in an AFL championship on December 26th. It happened in 1965 at Balboa Stadium in San Diego. That 1965 AFL championship game was held billing the hometown San Diego Chargers facing the Buffalo Bills for the league title. In the contest, it was the Bills who blanked the Chargers 23-0 when what OnThisDay.com website refers to as a repeat of the previous year's win over San Diego. December 26, 1975. OnThisDay.com also tells us that the 5th Fiesta Bowl game was played. In that game, the number 7 Arizona State University team knocked off a tough number 6 Nebraska Cornhuskers 17-14. December 26, 1976, at Oakland Alameda County Coliseum. The AFC Championship game took place, and for the 3rd year in a row, Oakland and Pittsburgh vied for the Lamar Hunt Trophy. The Pro Football Hall of Fame website tells us how the Steelers had won the title game in the previous 2 years and went on to hoist the Lombardi, and they were eyeing a three-peat, but the silver and black had other things in mind. The Raiders took full advantage of the Pittsburgh rushing tandem of Rocky Bleier and Franco Harris being sidelined with injuries as they held the Steelers' offense to a mere 72 yards on the ground that day. The Raiders' offense, on the other hand, were run-heavy with 157 yards rushing, give the Oakland Raiders a 24-7 win over the Steelers. And since we're talking about the AFC Championship game in 76, well, on December 26, 1976, the NFC Championship game was also played at Metropolitan Stadium in Bloomington, Minnesota. The Minnesota Vikings hosted the LA Rams to see who would represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. ProFootballReference.com tells us that the Norsemen jumped out to an early 17-0 first-half lead. The Rams attempted to come back, powering in 13 points of their own in response in the third stanza. But Sammy Johnson of the Men in Purple pounded into a 13-yard score in the fourth to seal the Minnesota 24-13 victory over the Los Angeles Rams. December 26, 1980. What a college matchup in the Fiesta Bowl. Neighboring states collided before they were both members of the Big Ten Conference as number 10 Penn State met number 11 Ohio State. The Nittany Lions took home the victory as they knocked off the Buckeyes that year 31-19 in the Fiesta Bowl. December 26, 1991. Chuck Noll retires as the NFL coach of the Steelers after 23 years at the helm. Noll's tenure tied former New York Giants coach Steve Owen as the third longest stint with one team in NFL history. Former Green Bay coach Curly Lambeau and former Dallas coach Tom Landry each coached 29 seasons. The Washington Post shares that Noll started as a Steelers head man in 1969, where he and the team suffered through a 1-13 first season. All he did from there was turn the team into a powerhouse that registered 209 victories for its coach and won 4 Super Bowl titles in that span of 6 seasons. December 26, 1992. New York Jets announcer Marty Glickman retires at the age of 74, per the HonestDay.com website. December 26, 2000. According to the GeorgiaEncyclopedia.org, Mark Richt was named the 25th head coach of the Georgia Bulldogs. The apex of Richt's Georgia career was in 2002 season, where the Bulldogs finished with a 13-1 record and won the school's first SEC championship, and then defeated Florida State in the Sugar Bowl. Richt led the Bulldogs for 15 seasons, registering an awesome 145 wins and 51 losses in the record, 2 SEC championship berths, and 9 bowl game wins. All right, we also have some Hall of Fame birthdays to recognize for this December 26th, and the first one happens in 1905 in Hoopeston, Illinois. The Navy halfback Tom Hamilton was born. The National Football Foundation voters placed Tom Hamilton into the College Football Hall of Fame in 1965. December 26, 1924, Claremont, California. Army's prolific halfback Glenn Davis celebrated his birth. The College Football Hall of Fame swung its doors open wide in 1961 to welcome the legend of Glenn Davis into its memories. December 26, 1960, Appleton, Wisconsin. Lawrence running back Scott Reppert came into this world. The NFF recognized Scott Reppert as a member of one of the collegiate greats as a new induction into the College Football Hall of Fame in 2003. December 26, 1966, Dallas, Texas. The great defensive back of the Oklahoma Sooners, Ricky Dixon, was born. Ricky Dixon was honored with an induction into the College Football Hall of Fame in the year 2019. You've done a great job of listening today, and now we have one more thing for you to do. Hit that subscribe button on your podcast player, or check back with your podcast provider, or look at PigskinDispatch.com or the SportsHistoryNetwork.com to make sure you don't miss the next episode, which will be out tomorrow for the December 27th football history headlines. And on that date, we'll talk about the youngest coach in NFL history is hired. The Colts, Browns, and Lions all win NFL titles on the date, and one player sets an NFL record. It's all coming up tomorrow, so make sure you don't miss it. Peeking up at the clock, the time's running down. We're going to go into victory formation, take a knee, and let this baby run out. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you back tomorrow for the next podcast. We invite you to check out our website, pigskindispatch.com, not only to see the daily football history, but to experience positive football with our many articles on the good people of the game, as well as our own football comic strip, Cleat Marks Comics. Pigskindispatch.com is also on social media outlets, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and don't forget the Pigskin Dispatch YouTube channel to get all of your positive football news and history. Special thanks to the talents of Mike and Gene Monroe, as well as Jason Neff for letting us use their music during our podcast.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.
It was just another ordinary day in the offices of the Pittsburgh Guardian newspaper circa 1924. But for Marla Delft, assistant editor, everything was about to change. For she was about to discover the awesome attractiveness of Row 1 brand retro sports paraphernalia items thanks to Orville Mulligan, sports writer.
And there it is.
Wow, Orville, that's really the bee's knees.
Isn't it just? A poster-sized replica of the actual 1909 World Series program cover.
I can see that. But where did you get it? And where'd you get it framed?
I ordered it from the Row 1 website, where over 6,000 items of sports memorabilia from the 1880s to the 1990s are available for reproduction in multiple sizes and in several different materials, with over a dozen styles of frame to choose from for prints like this.
Well, I'm sure Mr. Delft would love to put up more of these in the office. But I'm equally as sure they're beyond this newspaper's budget.
Not at all, my dear Marla. See for yourself. Go to sportshistorynetwork.com/row1.
sportshistorynetwork.com/row1. Oh my, these are good prices. Oh, and look at this stuff. Oklahoma-Nebraska football, college basketball art, Michael Jordan items.
And so
retro
it was that
sports
Marla Delft
advertisement
discovered the
placards.
splendiferous magic of Row 1 sports memorabilia, arts, and prints. You can too by visiting sportshistorynetwork.com/row1. That's ROW1 today for access to the full Row 1 catalog of gallery prints and gifts like t-shirts, long-sleeve shirts, telephone cases, coffee mugs, blankets, pillows, towels, and even shower curtains. Act today for 15% discount off all prints with coupon code SHN15 and 20% off all other items with coupon code SHN20 at checkout. And keep your dial locked to the Sports History Network for the exciting chronicles of the 1920 sports world in Orville Mulligan, sports writer. Coming soon.
Are you having a hard time figuring out what to get Dad for Father's Day? You should check out Row 1 Brand's Vintage Pictorum Gallery. They have America's best sports art. With over 7,200 historic sports prints, you're assured to find something unique for Dad this Father's Day. Instead of a boring old tie, get him a historic baseball photo taken by Henry High Sandom at the historic Polo Grounds Stadium in New York City during the 1894 Temple Cup. Or, if he's an NFL buff, check out the 1963 vintage NFL poster. These are so good looking that you'll be amazed how they turn out. Shop now at sportshistorynetwork.com/row1 and save 15% off your order.